It seems that particularly in the past year, the Belize-Guatemala dispute, or perhaps more accurately the moves to resolve that dispute, have been under constant scrutiny. As we saw today, even the attorneys from the Bar Association have decided that it's past time for them to pay attention and even to become involved.
The Belize-Guatemala dispute certainly has its diplomatic elements, but it also has its legal elements. And I think that as the discussion becomes more public and the educational exercise progresses, the Bar Association and attorneys at large will generally be expected to comment or assist people in understanding the process. There will be questions about the court and what should happen and that type of thing. And I think there's an assumption that because we're attorneys that we know that we have all of the answers. There are certainly some attorneys at the bar who are very well versed in international law and on the Belize-Guatemala dispute, but we recognize that there are also a number of attorneys who are really not that familiar with the details of the dispute. And we also wanted an opportunity to separate we wanted to determine what was fact from what may be fiction, so that people are clear on what are the facts on the ground. People are clear on what are the facts in terms of the diplomatic process and how things have moved along over the years.
Former foreign ministers and longtime dispute negotiators Assad Schuman and Eamon Courtney were presenters today, with a focus on how we got to this point, where we need to go, and what we need to do.
I think that we need to, as I said, take back the agenda, take back the initiative. I think that for the last few years, Guatemala has been pushing the envelope. They've been saying what we should do and what we should. Well, they said, first of all, we shouldn't go to referendum. We can't go to referendum. They keep postponing dates. And then they came up with this idea of let's get a little more cozy, sign agreements between ourselves, and we get to trust each other more, and it'll be more likely for us to go to referendum. I don't think that's true. So I think we need to take back the initiative and decide ourselves what we're going to do to push this thing forward and to finally end that claim.
Taking back the agenda, to my mind, means dealing with what is happening on the ground. There are security threats in the Sarstoon and on the western border. There is serious contraband. There is serious trafficking in person, trafficking in drugs, the degradation of the forest. Those are the things that need to be dealt with, and we need to deal with them aggressively. Do it aggressively with the support of the international community. So internationalization too, to me, means that we want to have negotiations that lead to the ground, what is really happening, what is affecting people's lives, improving. That is what is a precondition, in my view, for a resolution.
Courtney says that it has become clear that a negotiated settlement will not happen, so certain things need to be put in place with a view to a speedy resolution.
I think the Sarstoon has become a problem, and we need to deal with that. The suggestion from Assad, which I think we all agree with, is that we may need new confidence-building measures for the Sarstoon, one specially designed for the Sarstoon. Then after that, the question is, how do we get to the ICJ if that is what the people in Guatemala and the people in Belize want? My view has been that we need to build confidence on both sides of the borders. We have to become good neighbors. Guatemala has to stop doing the illegal things that it is doing, because many of its people who come across with impunity, and Guatemala does very little about it. So, to put it very succinctly, we need the circumstances that are going to be conducive for both sides to vote yes in a referendum, because I think we all agree that we will never have a negotiated settlement. It's just now for the people to decide whether they want to go to the court or not.
Schuman claims that Belize has been impeccable in its actions, and any hindrances, delays, and acts of bad faith can be put squarely in Guatemala's court. But he also pointed out that we as a people need to become more knowledgeable and to act from that knowledge.
I think that the Belizean people have to wake up a little more. They don't seem to realize that we have an imminent threat. Things are getting worse. The Sarstoon is just sort of the tip of the iceberg of what can happen if we don't have an international presence. Now the OAS office is there as a result of the facilitation process. The OAS office will not stay there if they don't see an end to this thing. And they are running out of funding. And the funding comes from international bodies and from governments that have faith that this thing is going somewhere. If they feel that it's going nowhere, either because of Guatemala or Belize positions, then we will lose that presence.
The session also included a presentation by Foreign Minister Wilfred Elrington, the man leading the diplomatic discourse with Guatemala. Mike Verdon for News 5.